Hi YouTube. This is the first video of a series in which I'm going to, from start to finish, draw Leonardo DiCaprio. And so in this particular video, what we're going to do is the beginning layout. So let's get to it. Okay, to start the first video of this series, we're going to work on the initial layout, or I should say the grid method. Now there are several things that you can do. First you need, of course, a reference photo, and I've chosen Leonardo here, and I've printed on a nice photo quality paper. Now you can, several ways. You can do your initial sketch by, eyeballing it, or you can trace it onto another, a drawing paper, or you can use the grid layout method. And that's the method I'm going to use in this video. Now, I don't want to draw grids on my photo paper there because I get good details. I can see everything really well on this reference photo, and I don't want to have a bunch of lines all over it. So what I've decided to do is just print it again on just regular old laser printer paper, just cheap paper. And I even made it a little lighter, as you can see here, so I could see the details even better. When I am drawing, I could use this other printout because you can see that it's a little darker on my original reference. So it's always nice to have more than one reference photo, one that's lighter than the other. And in this case here, I'm going to draw my lines all on this photo paper here. And that's what we're going to do in this video. Now, what you're going to want to do is, this sheet of paper is 8.5 across the top by 10 inches down. And so I'm more interested in the 1-inch grid rather than the half-inch grid. Now you can see that at 8.5, you're not going to get all 1-inch squares from left to right. There's, as you can see, after you get to the 1/8 inch, you're going to be ending up with a 1/2 inch on the end there. So you're going to end up with 1/2-inch squares at the very end. You can see there's 8 full inches, and then there's 1/2 inch on the very end. So, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start marking off 1-inch areas there. And I went ahead and started from the right side to the left. You can do it from either side. And so my 1/2 inch square is going to end up on the left side because I decided to do it this way. And so you can see the last line I'm going to do is 1/2 inch away from the left side. But that's fine, it doesn't matter, because you just have to duplicate this on your drawing paper. So whatever you do on your reference photo, you do on your drawing paper. Now we're going to do the horizontal line measurements, and fortunately here we have 11 inches, so we'll have 11 equal squares on this paper. Now whatever you do on one side, you need to duplicate on the other side. So we'll turn this around, and then I'm going to do another 11 1-inch lines. And just so you know, I'm using an F pencil here. That's what I'm going to lay out with. Just a light pencil. Doesn't matter. It's more important when you're doing it on your drawing paper as to what pencil you are using. You want it light on your drawing paper. Your reference grid doesn't really matter. You do want to be able to see the lines on your grid. Now I'm duplicating on the bottom what I have on the top, because when I'm done, we're going to have to connect the lines to draw nice, even vertical and horizontal lines. So now I'm going to start on the vertical lines, and I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to fall asleep watching me draw simple vertical lines. You just match up your lines from top to bottom, and then you just go for it. Okay, so that takes care of the vertical lines. And now next thing I need to do is do the horizontal lines. And same thing as with the vertical lines, you're just going to match your markings from side to side and draw in your lines. Okay, and as you can see, I'm finishing up with the horizontal lines, and there you go. You have 8.5 across and 11 from top to bottom. Now, there are other ways that you can do this. If you don't really want to draw on top of your reference photo, another way is to create a transparency grid using your laser printer or your inkjet printer. In this case, I have an inkjet printer. So you get some transparency film. You can get it for laser printer or inkjet printers. Now in this case, I got some for an inkjet printer. And what I'm going to do, for example, is I can take this transparency and I could put it in my printer and go to Photoshop or use your Word program or whatever, but you want to draw a grid with your software, and from there print it out onto your transparency and you can just lay it on. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, I started my Photoshop application here, and just as a disclaimer, I'm not a Photoshop expert. As a matter of fact, I don't really use it that much, but when I do, it's very handy. And I'm going to just create a simple grid, a 1-inch grid utilizing this, and I'm going to print it on that transparency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to File and hit New, and it's going to ask me, what size I want this drawing area to be and so forth. And I'm going to make it the size of the paper, or in this case the size of the transparency, which is 8.5 by 11. So I want that in inches, and then I'm going to do 8.5, that's for 8.5 inches by 11. And I really don't care about any of this. Background could be white or it could be transparent. That's fine. It just allows you to see what you're going to be drawing here. And you can see mine comes up 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to expand the window open a little bit so I could see around the outside edges of the paper. I just like to be able to move my mouse beyond the edge of the paper there. And if you don't have rulers, you just go over to View, and you can select rulers and make the rulers come up, and it should be in inches since that's how you created the paper. And I make sure that my foreground color is black. That's what I want is black. And the background we know is white, and that's fine. Now over here, what I want to do is I want to create a new layer. I don't want to draw right on my background. I want to create a layer. So, okay, so over here I'm going to create a new layer. And I want to make sure that's what's selected here. That's where I'm going to draw my first line. Now, as far as the line is concerned, I'm going to use the pencil tool. So if you don't know how to use Photoshop, you may want to check out some YouTube vids on how to do basic things with Photoshop. But over here, you want to make sure that you have your pencil tool. You might have the brush tool by chance, looks like that. I just right-clicked on it and just select pencil tool, so I want that. My pixel here is 1 pixel. That's fine. If I want it thicker, I could always go back and do it, but we're going to do 1 first and see how that works out. Mode normal. Okay, opacity, you want that 100% because we want solid lines. We don't want semi-transparent lines. And now with the layer 1 selected, I'm going to go ahead and draw my first line. Now, when you move your cursor into the page and you look at the rulers, you're going to be able to see this dotted line appear here and up here. And let's see if you can see that up in the left corner, those 2 lines moving, one on the vertical ruler and one on the horizontal ruler. That allows me to line things up. Now I'm going to be drawing 1-inch line, vertical line, so I'm going to use the top ruler here, and I'm going to go 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, all the way. But then when I get to 8, then we're going to stop at 8 because here is a ½ inch and it just falls off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to left click, okay, and then take my finger off the mouse, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom of the page, and looking at that ruler on the very top, again, I want to make sure I get it right on 1 inch, and this time I'm going to hold the shift key down and click once. Which, let me get that aligned again, or I won't get a straight vertical line. There we go. And there you go, and it draws a straight line. And now what I want to do over here is I got the layer 1 selected. I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say duplicate layer. And yeah, I don't care what the name is. And now I have 2 layers that has the vertical line, and you only see 1 vertical line because the copy is right on top of it. But I'm going to use my arrow keys while this is selected. I'm going to use my right arrow key and start moving that other line over. Oh, before I do that, whoops, need the move. So let me go ahead and click the move. This is selected and this is move. Okay, now I'm going to use my right. There we go. And I'm going to slide that over. I told you I wasn't an expert at this. Okay, let's see. I want to get that exactly at, there it is. Okay, it should be right at the 2 inches. So I got one at 1 inches and I got one at 2 inches. Now I could keep doing this one at a time, but instead of that, I'm going to merge these 2 together so that these 2 become 1 layer. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to tell it to merge down, right down here, merge down. And there you go. Now this layer 1 is actually these 2. And if I duplicate it again, I'm going to right click on top there and I'm going to say duplicate layer. You know, let it call it that if it wants. And we still have the move thing selected, so that's good. I'm going to use my right key on the keyboard again, and I'm going to shift that over. And this time I'm going to go to 3 and 4. And that looks like it's perfect. Okay. And again, I'm going to do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I could do this one more time. So go over here, right click, merge down. There we go. And I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate. Yeah, we'll accept whatever name. Still have the move selected. right mouse, and I'm going to have my vertical grid lines all done just like that. And that looks like it's perfect. Okay. And just so that we go ahead and, I'm just going to go ahead and merge that down so that's just one layer. Okay. Let's see. Why don't, let's see, can I name this thing? I'm sure I can. It's just I don't know anything. Oh, there we go. I just double click the name and it works. Okay, I'm going to call this my vertical. Okay, or verticals. All right, now I'm going to create a new layer, and it's going to be for the horizontal lines. So, new layer, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just name it horizontals. Yeah. All right. Back to the pen tool, pencil tool, I think. Yeah, pencil tool. And this time I'm going to, if you look over to the left here, I'm going to come over here and align that to the 1 inch. And just left mouse click. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the other side of the paper and align that to the 1 inch. And this time hold the shift key down before I click again. And there we go. There's a horizontal line. Now I'm going to go back to the move just so I remember that it's selected. Now up here we're going to duplicate the layer. We'll accept the name. And since I already did the move here, it should be ready to move. I'm using the down arrow. There we go. And I'm going to align that to the 2 inch, which is right there. And again, I'm going to merge down. And then I'm going to duplicate the layer, accept the name, and we still have the move selected, so I'm just going to use the down arrow again. And I'm going to move that down to 3 and 4. And again, merge, down, duplicate, yep, and do it again. By the way, if anyone knows a faster way to do this, leave it in the comments, please. All right, and let's see, I'm going to, I'm just going to go ahead and do another one. I'll just duplicate the layer again. Instead of merging it, I'm not even going to bother. And then just go down and fill in the rest. It should overlap perfectly right there. There we go. And that's it. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and file and see print. Okay, that doesn't look good. Let's see. Okay, went into page setup here and made sure I had the correct paper and everything selected so that it would do the right scale size and everything, and I didn't have to monkey with any of this, and just make sure it's centered. Or I can take that off and say the top is at 0 and left is at 0, like that. There we go. And I believe that should do it. Okay, and I've already put my transparency into the I don't like this down here. Let's see. Let's try that. Scale to fit media. I'm going to see if that comes out right. And after you print it on the transparency, you can see that they line up really good. So instead of drawing on here, let's say for example you print this out, and we'll just use my reference here. You can just take this transparency like this and align it up with your drawing underneath, you can see how there's the 1/2 inch there and there's the 1 inch there, and it goes all the way down to the bottom here. And then you can just take some drafting tape and just tape it on the top, because the nice thing about it is you can use the grid to do your original sketch, and then you can just lift this up every time you need to see details and you don't want the lines in the way, and then you can just drop it back down. So that's another way of doing it. Okay, and so that's step one. In the next video, we're going to get right into transferring this information onto a blank sheet of drawing paper. Well, if you like this part one, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you in part two.